Hey, what's up, Supernatural fans? It's Mel again, and I'm here to recap Season 10, Episode 19, The Werther Project of Supernatural, which is set to air April 22nd, 2005. And before we get started, here's a synopsis of the episode. Sam learns that former Men of Letters Magnus once built a magical box, and Sam sets out to find it in the hopes it can cure Dean of the Mark of Cain. However, what he's not prepared for is the deadly alarm system Magnus set up on the box. When Sam opens the box, he puts both his and Dean's life in danger. Now, already off the bat, the synopsis doesn't really tell us anything that the promos have given us preview to. In the promo, we definitely see Sam working with Rowena when it comes to the Mark of Cain, because at the end of the last episode, we saw Sam striking a deal with Rowena in hopes that she could decrypt the Book of the Damned that he was supposed to burn, and yet he knows that the book has a cure for the Mark of Cain inside it. So he goes behind Dean's back to strike this deal, and it ends with Rowena accepting. Now, from my guess is that in return of decrypting the book, Rowena is going to want this magical box that the Men of Letters has, or whatever's inside the box. Now, Magnus, the Men of Letters member, I believe he is either the one who collected all the supernatural rarities. For example, he's the one that originally had the first blade in season 9. He's either that one, or he's the one that had to deal with the Oz. The Oz case with Charlie, but I'm thinking more along the guy who had the first blade and wanted to keep Dean as a trophy, if you will. So from the looks of it, Sam's going to try to do this case on his own, but Dean's going to get suspicious of it, and while Sam tries to hide things from Dean, it's going to turn deadly for him, resulting in Dean trying to figure out what Sam's up to, how he's going to stop him before it gets worse. So there's that. There's no mention of Castiel or Crowley in the synopsis. Rowena's not even listed, so I'm not sure if the other two will be appearing, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how Sam is going to attempt to lie to Dean. But we'll see. We'll just have to wait until after the recap to see if any of my predictions came true or not. So without further ado, let's begin. So for the record, I just wanted to make it clear that this video has two different audio recordings. The first one is from the beginning all the way up to the pre-episode predictions, and then from this point onward, it's the recording I do after the episode is aired. So with that being said, Magnus is the former Men of Letters member who dabbled in spells and enchantments, and he's the one who was collecting all the supernatural rarities. He's the one that did have the first blood. He's the one that wanted Dean part of his collection, and the Men of Letters member part of the Oz case was Clive. That I remember. So with that cleared up, let's start with the actual episode, and it starts off tonight with a flashback to 1973 St. Louis, Missouri, and it shows a family, typical normal family, mother, daughter, father, son, just having a normal day. Daughter is sent to do the laundry, and in doing the laundry, she, some reason, decides to break down a wall with a hammer. Maybe she anger issues, who knows. Doing that, though, she finds a mysterious metal box. She opens the box, she gets blown backwards, a yellow mist is released from the box, and when she finally comes to, she wakes up to find her family having committed suicide. Her father shot himself in the head, her brother hung herself, and just when she finds her mother slits her throat. And that's it for the flashback. So then, in the present day, we start off again from where we left off in the last episode, with Sam and Rowena talking about a deal. Sam wants Rowena to decrypt the Book of the Damned so that he can get the cure that's written inside for Dean, And in return, Rowena wants Sam to kill Crowley because Crowley will see Rowena's trying to kill him. And yet for Sam, it's like willy-nilly. He's already trying to do it anyways. So, like, it's no big surprise. So, with that taken care of, Rowena reveals that she can't read the book, yet and not in its present form. Apparently, it's the Grand Coven named Nadia can read the Book of the Damned's current dialect, but since she was killed for her crimes, she had left a codex about the book. And Rowena wants Sam to get the book. And when Sam doesn't know how, she says, and I quote, "Who do you think murdered Nadia and stole her codex in the first place?" Giving Sam the light bulb that it was the men of letters, so he has to go home and do research. And during that meeting, he gets a text from Dean, who wants to know if he wants in on a vampire nest. Sam is delayed, so the next thing we see is Dean at the nest, and he's already killed all the vampires. He's bloody, he's gory, he seems to be happy, to the sense that he finds some beer, he cleans himself up without a problem, and Sam rushes in and is horrified to the fact that Dean did not wait for him. He went and exterminated a nest of vampires on his own. And Dean even says, in a quote, 6 vamps total. I think that's my personal best. And I truly believe that's all thanks to the mark of Cain, giving him a full advantage. And because of that, Sam is not pleased, but Dean argues the fact that he needs these hunts to take the edge off of what the mark's giving him. So Sam can't really argue that, but there's tension between them. So in the back of the bunker, Dean sleeps, and Sam starts with his research for this Nadia witch. And in doing so, he comes across an old recording in regards to Magnus and his trial in regards to this Werther box that he created. And the mental letters are trying to deal with him for the blowback the box has given. Says it's killed many of their members as they tried to get inside it. Yet Magnus put all these charms on it because he hid Nadia's codex in Werther's box. So there's a whole slew of problems there. But with that information, Sam finds the St. Louis location in the archives, and then he calls it Rowena and tells her that he needs a spell to break this powerful and violent enchantment spell. She gives it to him freely, which surprises me, but then she does a warning saying that an amateur can't pull it off. Someone with more experience will have to do it, or else it will fizzle out. Sam refuses her help in the case and hangs up. So Sam arrives at the house. He tries to break in, but the house seems to be occupied, so he has to take a step back and figure out what his next plan is, only to find Dean coming in the car and basically showing him that he's followed him and he may be on his tail about it. Dean apologizes about how he handled things at the vampire nest, only to ask Sam what he's doing at this house. So they go into a brief history about it being known as the suicide house and how the only living member with the house in its name still lives there. It happens to be the girl who was in the flashback at the start of the episode. So Dean goes in as a distraction, and Sam breaks in from the back to go to the basement to get the Werther box. And while Dean is distracting the old lady, Susie, he learns that people die if they go in the basement. And Susie's terrified of what is in the basement. So before anything can truly happen, Sam opens the box. Susie can feel it and she starts freaking out. And this yellow mist comes out, and I guess it kind of takes over Susie and Dean before Sam can reach them. And immediately after that, Susie starts seeing her dead family. She sees her brother, her mother, her father, and they're all taunting her with thoughts of suicide, basically saying, "End it now, it's all your fault that we're all dead." So, like those types of thoughts. So, eventually she kills herself, despite Sam trying to save her, he doesn't get to her time. Dean, on the other hand, finds himself transported back to purgatory, and he doesn't realize this until he's being attacked by Leviathan, only to be saved by an old friend in the form of Benny, the vampire that he killed in season 8, episode 19. So it's a great surprise to see Benny again, but Dean's immediately aware of the fact that it's not real. He knows Benny's dead. He killed him after all, so he's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So with Sam, though, he immediately gets taken in under the power of the spirits in the form of Susie, and then tries to tell him to kill himself. Only he is saved by Rowena, who breaks the spell. And she even greets him with, "I told you you'd need me." So with that, Rowena tells him that she found him with her magic, and that she only brought enough magic to break one person out of the spell. In this case, it was Sam. So Dean is left in the spell's grasp, and Sam can't get to him. So basically, he's in a trance. So instead, Sam has the plan of breaking into the Werther box, since he already got past the first door that unleashed the yellow mist, the security spell. There's also another door with a whole bunch of cogs and an inscription around it. So he has to get through that, and he thinks that if he get through that, then he'd break the spell on Dean, and he hopes that he could do it fast enough before Dean has suicidal thoughts, like Susie had experienced and what Sam had previously experienced before Rowena intervened. So Rowena follows Sam down to the basement, and they check out the box, and they translate the inscription, and it basically leads them to the conclusion that in order to open it, you need legacy blood to do it. So basically Sam's blood. So he'd basically have to bleed to open the box. And at some point, Rowena warns Sam that he's giving too much, but then Sam comes to realize that the box needs more blood. And Rowena says that it's going to need enough to take a life. And Sam is willing to bleed to open this box. He is determined to get the codex so he can save Dean from the mark. And then add on top of that, he's more determined to save Dean from whatever suicidal spell that he's currently trapped in. Meanwhile, Dean is stuck in purgatory with a fake Benny. And while Dean's trying to figure out a way to get out of purgatory, Benny, in a roundabout way, tells him that no matter which way you turn, you end up here. And they always return to the same fallen tree. And he's basically saying that Dean doesn't want to leave purgatory. This is his happy place. He doesn't want to leave. And that makes sense in a way, because in purgatory it was like a constant battlefield when they were there together. And with the mark on his arm, Dean is constantly craving for a fight. He constantly wants blood to be spilt. And if he has to feed the mark, then what better place than in purgatory, when the fight is always coming to you. You're always on alert and just fighting for your life the whole time. So it makes sense why that would be Dean's current happy place. But Dean doesn't want to believe that. He's tired of fighting. But Benny brings up that the mark isn't done fighting. And then Benny brings up the option of suicide, saying that if Dean takes his life now, before he even becomes a demon, before he can hurt anybody else, then that's okay. But Dean says that it's never going to happen. It's not the honorable way to go. But at some point, Dean seems to be caving to the idea for a moment there. And then to the point that Benny actually gives his weapon to Dean, saying what happens in purgatory stays in purgatory, as if I won't tell anybody if you do it. And in the real world, I don't know how, but Dean breaks out of the ropes that Sam had put him in, and he goes to a glass bottle and he breaks it. And I don't get how he was able to do that in reality when he still thinks he's in purgatory. It's confusing. But eventually, Dean even refuses the idea of suicide, telling Benny, and I quote, "The real Benny would never let me," in regards to if he ever had suicidal thoughts. And then he even says this in a quote, "You know what else won't let me? This thing on my arm. For better or worse, the mark wants me alive." And I gotta be happy about that mark right about now, because I do not want to see Dean give up like this. He is a fighter. He's always fought for everybody else. It's about time that he fought for himself, and I believe that he can do that. So instead of handing the weapon back to Benny, Dean actually kills Benny, and in killing Benny, he wakes up from this trance. So with this renewed sense of reality back to him, Dean rushes to find Sam, and he finds Sam bleeding, almost bleeding to death at the vault. And he tries to stop Sam from doing it, but Sam is fighting back. So much so that Dean has to slap Sam. But Sam manages to get out the fact that in order to open the box, it needs legacy blood. It needs his blood, he basically says, but Dean refuses. He says, and I quote, "It needs more blood than it can have mine." So Dean easily cuts himself and bleeds into the bowl enough to open the Werther box. And Rowena disappears, but I am unclear on whether or not Dean saw Rowena, if he just ignored her, because he never acknowledged her, so I'm wondering if he actually saw her, or if she had placed a spell on herself so that Dean couldn't see her. But she definitely leaves before Dean takes out this old book. So afterwards, they're basically getting ready to leave the house. Dean apologizes again for going solo earlier, and he says in a quote, "We are stronger together than apart," before he brings up the question on what they do with this new book. And Sam says that they are going to do whatever it takes to keep it safe. But in the final scene, we see Sam in a warehouse with Rowena, and he gives her the codex. And she's really pleased by it. She even seems like she's so engrossed in it that she doesn't even know what else is happening around her. But Sam asks if the codex is enough to decrypt the book of the Dam. And she says it is enough, but she says it in a way that seems like she's totally forgotten why she needed the book in the first place. I think she has another reason for needing the codex. But either way, when Sam gets his answer, he managed to slip the anti-magic or anti-demon handcuffs on Rowena, making her powerless before he chains her up to the structures, to the building structure. So, and Rowena is just shocked by this. She even says, and I quote, "We had an agreement, Giant," and Sam sticks by that agreement. He says that he will uphold their deal. He will kill Crowley, and Rowena will decrypt the book to get the cure for him. But that is all Rowena is getting from the codex, is whatever is needed to decrypt the book of the damned. So basically, Rowena is Sam's prisoner until she can get the cure decrypted from the book. And this infuriates Rowena. And I gotta say, I am so glad that Sam went this extra step, because I was a little worried when I was really worried when he showed up with that codex to give to Rowena. I thought that he was just going to hand it over and then walk out, or something like that. I didn't expect him to not only imprison her in a sense that he chained her to the building, but he made her powerless in the sense that she can't use magic to get out. So I'm really glad that he took those extra steps to ensure that she did fulfill her end of the bargain. But then I'm wondering what's stopping her from looking through the whole codex for whatever she needs, and then memorizing it or copying it down somewhere, and then using that later on once she's free from the handcuffs, because there's no doubt that she's going to get free from those handcuffs. So that was just my main concern. But overall, as an episode, I guess my favorite part would be Benny's return. It was great to see him and Dean together. I really liked that friendship between them, and they really were brothers in arms when it came to their time in purgatory together. I was so sad when Dean had to kill him in 819. But it was great to see him back in this form. And in regards to Sam and Rowena, I do not know how I feel about this team up. I mean, Sam's got to be pretty desperate to go to Rowena, who has tried to kill Dean already. But it's great to see that he's taking all these extra precautions about her and specifically. So in regards to predictions, I am going to do them based off of, well, let's start with next week's episode first off, and that will be episode 20 called Angel Heart. And the synopsis for that is: when Claire Novak gets a lead on her mother Amelia, who has been missing for years, Castiel asks Sam and Dean to help her. Castiel feels guilty for what he did to the Novak family and wants to make amends by reuniting Claire with her mom. However, when they find out what took Amelia, they realize there is a chance Claire may not get her happy ending. So, based on that description, Claire Novak returns. Again, I definitely did not expect to see her again this season. This makes it, her third appearance this season alone, after 6 years of not seeing her, because I believe the very last time we saw her was in season 4, before we saw her this season. But with that, with her return, there's going to be a search for her mom, so that'll be interesting. But based on the promo, an assassin from heaven is introduced, I believe, if I got that correctly, but I don't know. But I did find this one little exchange between Claire and Dean to be amusing, and I can't wait to see how that unfolds. And Claire says, "You seem pretty old," and Dean looks so offended that he says, "How dare you?" So I definitely want to see what puts them in a situation where that is said between them. So it will definitely be quite something. But overall, as an episode, or not as an episode, as a season, so basically episode 20, 21, 22, and 23, I have absolutely no clue where this is going. Apparently, well, I can't spoil this, that in episode 21, Charlie does return, and so does the Stein family, so that would be great. And it'll be a really packed episode, since Charlie, Rowena, Crowley, and Castiel are set to appear in episode 21. So while we get 20 being focused on the Novak family, it'd be great to have one solely focused on Mark of Cain. But I believe that for the rest of the season, the main focus will be trying to get the Mark of Cain off of Dean. By then in the finale, I don't know whether or not they'll be successful. And it'll definitely be interesting to see how they get us there, and then how they leave us off before we have to wait until season 11 returns. So that'll be interesting. But aside from that, I don't know on the bigger level what we'll see or what we get. But on another quick note before I sign off for the night, I just want to say that this episode, aside from Benny's return, and aside from Sam's team up with Rowena, this episode had me thinking a lot about the Always Keep Fighting campaign that Jared has been talking about a lot, definitely in the Supernatural conventions, mainly because of the suicide content that was brought up through the security spell. And I just couldn't help but thinking about the campaign every time the hallucinations were always telling either Sam, Susie, or Dean to end it, to stop fighting, to just pull the plug, to call it quits. So it was very interesting to see different versions of the same topic in one episode in regards to the sensitive issue. But I thought it was very well done. I thought it worked in the realm that is Supernatural, while still keeping it as real as to what it is out in the real world. So I thought that was pretty brilliant, and it's just great to see that even though the show is about the supernatural world, where a majority of it is fiction and fantasy, it's great to see that a lot of real life issues can bleed into the storyline as well and actually work. So I just wanted to say on a quick note for that. So bravo for pulling off the deeper message. But aside from that, that's all I have to say about the episode. So If you want to leave a comment below to share any thoughts, theories, predictions of your own with me, that'd be great. I can't wait to read them. If you want to hit me up with a comment about what you liked about the episode, what you didn't like about the episode, what you had predicted that did come true, or what didn't come true, that's fine with me. I love hearing about predictions, seeing how other people perceive different things, even though it's the same material we're all seeing. It's great to see different perspectives like that. So don't be afraid to leave a comment, and I'll see what I can do with it in the next episode. Hopefully I'll do shout outs, hopefully. But I did want to point it out, or put it out there at least, that based on the timing of these videos, if you've followed my other 3 videos, for one for the originals, one for Flash, and one for Arrow, I'm trying to figure out the best pacing or the best format to use to get a short amount of time, yet with a great amount of quality in what I'm sharing with you guys. So I believe so far this one's the shortest, but I just wanted to put out there that next week I'm going to try a different format for all the videos, for all the shows at least, and I'm going to call the highlighted videos, and afterwards I just want to see which version you guys prefer. If you guys prefer the Supernatural recap over the Supernatural highlights, then maybe I'll merge the two, or I'll just stick to the recap version. Or if it's the other way around, just let me know in the comment below when it gets to it, and I'll see what I can do. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the edited portion of the video that I attempt. I'm not really good at video editing. I'm learning still, but thank you for putting up with my learning process, my learning curve, as it were. Try my best, learning as I go. I only get better the more I do something. So I hope you stick around, see me improve as I continue, and just don't forget to leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to my page. Oh, and if you want to come check me out on my Tumblr page, the link from my Tumblr account is actually on the About page on my channel. But basically it's under the pen name Dark Supernatural Angel. So if you want to check out my Tumblr page, which is basically where I'll get my TV spoilers, TV updates, I go crazy with the GIFs over there, so just check it out if you want everything of one show in one place. That's all I'm saying. So thanks again. I really appreciate you giving the time to watch this, and I hope you come back again. Talk to you later. Bye.